Here we go, yep, I know. You ain't never seen it done like this before. Long hair, blue eyes, yes, I flow.
Hi, I'm Alan Weed, and I'm excited about the role I get to play in the Youth Leader University as the Dean of the Music and Media Department. There are four major reasons why this department is so important to you as a youth worker. First, kids need Christ. They need a relationship with Jesus Christ, and they need to be growing in that relationship. Second, kids love music and media. We all know that. We know it's in their headphones, it's in their iPods, it's on their computer, it's everywhere. They're on the internet listening to music and media. The third is youth workers, to be effective, you need to use music and media in your ministry to students. You need to use worship music, you need to use Christian music, you need to use mainstream music, and you need to use all forms of media effectively if we're going to do the task of the Great Commission with students. And fourth, youth workers, you don't have time, don't have money, and you need equipping and training and resources to be able to use use music and media in your ministry to kids. So that's why I'm so thrilled about this area of the Youth Leader University. Hey, let's dig in a little bit more on these 4 points. Several years ago, a study was done. It was called the M Study, and it was for high school students. It was a nationwide study, a very large study, and they came to an interesting conclusion, and that was the usage time, as far as kids are concerned, for music, media, and technology. The average student spends over 44 hours every week in music, media, and technology. Wow! That's comparable to the number of hours that a student will spend in school. The second point is something that I read just the other day, and I'm going to read it to you here. This is from a media company called Common Sense Media, and they said this, quote, "We believe that media today has truly become, quote unquote, the other parent in our kids' lives, powerfully affecting their mental, physical, and social development." Music's powerful. Media's powerful. The research that we've done at our organization, Interlink, over the last 25 years has shown consistently that 80% of kids in church youth groups, high school students in church youth groups, listen totally to mainstream music. Now, we're very aware that there's good music that's coming from the mainstream, but the majority of this is done by those who don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and the worldviews that they present are quite different from the ones that you're teaching and imparting to your students when you meet with them. The interesting thing about this whole notion of music and media and why it's so important for us is if you think about the downside of that. Let's say, for instance, you have a student in your group that's serious enough about Jesus Christ to spend 15 minutes every day in personal quiet time to come to church, let's say 3 hours a week, hour and a half times 2. And then if they're serious enough to meet with a discipler once a week for an hour. The interesting point is that that same student is spending, you can figure it out, what is that, 7 or 8 hours? They're spending at least 5 or 6 times as many hours listening to music and engaging in media that tells them exactly the opposite of what you're teaching them. We have to deal with these main areas of music and media, and we have to help our kids process what it is that they're listening to and give them alternatives that are helpful to them as well. The thing that gets me most excited, though, is not to think about the downside, but to think about the upside. Let me read this to you. I love this passage of Scripture in Deuteronomy 6. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, and the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I'm commanding you today shall be on your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your sons, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates." What Israel was instructed to do was to teach diligently in every through every means possible that was normal to a day of life for a kid. Teach them the truth of God. Let's try this translation for fun. And you shall bind them as a sign on your iPod, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your computer. What if that same student who was spending that time with you in church, with the Lord personally in time of personal devotions and quiet time, and then the time with the discipler, and then if you added 40 hours on top of that, that was music and media that helped that kid process the truth that you taught. Wow. And I think we have to teach kids to process that other side as well, in the world, not of the world. And that's what we want to do in the Youth Leader University Department of Music and Media. That's why I'm thrilled about this. As you look at the diagram that's the layout for the department, what you'll see is 3 rows: people, tools, and stories. Let me explain those. First, why is people? Why is the whole notion of a section on people important? It's crucial that you know the person behind the message. This allows you as the local youth worker to see this artist or worship leader as a co-laborer in youth ministry with you. It empowers you with relationship and understanding and access to the personal life of that artist or worship leader. So how are we going to do that? There will be written Heart of the Artist interviews that will be accessible to you, and then there will be talkback sessions that we've done with artists where they're sharing their testimony, they're sharing their background, how they grew spiritually, and what their heart and mission is as it relates to student ministry. Those will all be available to you. Let's talk about the tools row. This is where you'll have Bible study materials, you'll have all different types of resources that use media that you can actually plug in and use in your group. There will be a bunch of things there for you in this area. And then the final row is stories. This will be reports of how these things are being used, how local youth workers are using these tools, or their feedback on a particular artist or worship leader, ways that they've used their music. So this will be in the trenches type feedback for you as you use these tools. So that's the grid. And our goal, my goal as the dean of the department, is to populate that grid with stuff that just will that will be electric for you, that will be exciting for you to use, and that will impact your kids for Jesus Christ. Thanks for listening to my little intro here for the department. I hope you'll dig into what's here. This first installment is going to be just the beginning points, because we're going to build this thing. And what I want to ask from you is that you use it, and then you send back to me feedback on how it's working with your kids, the impact. And that could go well into the story section of the grid that we looked at moments ago. But what I need you to do is to send me your feedback. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. I'm sure there's a direct feedback loop through YLU, and you'll find that here on the site. But I'd also love to hear from you personally as well. My email address, and it'll be on the screen here, is alanweed@interlink-online.com. Lord bless you as you use music and media, this powerful force in reaching your kids and ministering to your kids. There's a quote that I heard many years ago from a good friend of mine, Dawson McAllister, who's still doing youth ministry on the radio, reaching out to kids. He said, if you want kids to remember a biblical truth, put it in a song and they'll never forget it.